Alright, what's up guys? My name is Hunted and this is my first real video on the channel. I plan on diving into my passions for gaming, movies, TVs, and even music starting today with my ideal or a little wish list for GTA 6. Barring another delay, we all know how huge this release is going to be, and I figured there's no better time to kick off my content creation journey. I also want to hear from you guys, so be sure to drop a comment on what you'd like to see. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like as well. I also stream on Twitch, link will be down below, and I'll be posting more consistently on both platforms over the next few months, especially once GTA 6 drops, so a follow there would definitely mean a lot. But without further ado, let's get into it. So of course we have a bunch of info gathered from leaks and patents from Rockstar filed over the years, plus what we already seen in Red Dead Redemption 2 and the more recent GTA Online updates. That gives us a very solid idea of what to expect. Number one is going to be cars. I'm personally super into cars, have been my entire life. People in my opinion don't really give Rockstar's flowers when it comes to the vehicle selection in GTA 5. Whether it's the sour taste left on early players due to the more futuristic additions, or the fact that there's just so many other things going on in the game that most players just see them as an A to B means, which they technically are, and most probably choose to use an Oppressor Mark II or Deluxo as it gets you where you need to be much faster anyways. I honestly feel the average player buys these cars just to fill their garages and spend the money they accumulated, and not just for the love of the game, right? GTA definitely has a super dedicated car scene, both on the vanilla version and especially on 5M, and rightfully so. Outside of they don't use real manufacturers for many obvious reasons. The visual customization in this game, especially on the most recent cars that are barely even try to hide what they are, is on par in my opinion with current racing games, and is honestly in the top running with Need for Speed and The Crew. The idea of them bringing every single car over from 5 is very probable in my mind. Interior upgrades on every car model is needed, not just for the older ones, and unlike a racing game that has to keep up with licenses and keeping a manageable roster, this game is meant to simulate a breathing American state. You go outside your home now, or you head down to Miami, you'll see cars from all years, makes and models and conditions. Having all those cars adds tremendously to the immersion, and with 781 cars currently available in GTA Online, the variety is going to be pretty phenomenal from day one. With that being said, that leads into what would be in my ideal GTA 6. I could bunch a few things into this one that all boil down to realism. More realistic crash physics. Now I don't need BMG level crashes, even though that would be really nice, but a more realistic feel in terms of the weight, deformation, and lasting effects on the car would be super nice in my opinion. For example, damaging individual parts like the suspension after taking a huge jump, or a supercar actually getting stuck in the mud if you decide to take it deep off-road. Of course, a feature everyone brings up, which I 100% hope is in the game, is refueling. Going back to a more GTA 4 feel while keeping the dartiness from 5 would be very nice in my opinion. With how weighty Red Dead 2 felt, I'm hopeful we'll see more realism in the car physics and handling. And speaking of Red Dead Redemption 2, that leads into my next one, which is inventory management. So of course the leaks alluded to what we could be seeing for the inventory, but even though those are 100% true, we have to take them with a grain of salt, as there is a good chance, because those clips were so early in development, that what system was in the game at that point is either completely different or changed in either shape or form that we just don't know about and won't see until Rockstar shows it themselves in the final product. The idea of having a more weighted system of carrying your guns around, not having an entire military arsenal in your back pocket, having to use a loot duffel bag or the car you have as your personal vehicle to carry the bigger weapons around, I think is a fantastic idea. I like the idea of doing it in Red Dead, and I don't mind doing it in GTA 6, and I think it adds another level of realism to it, having to pick and choose your arsenal before entering a mission or a side activity that you see across the map. In my opinion, is a pretty great idea. That also goes into other things like items as well, so med kits, healing items, and hopefully more RPG elements, which we'll get into a little bit later, with food and drinks and other things as well, not to have a thirst and hunger meter, but different type of ways to heal rather than just finding a green health pack on the floor or opening up an inventory menu and just spamming P's and Q's. The next ideal thing I'd like to see in GTA 6 is more interior interactions and variety. Now looking back on it, GTA 5 actually had a pretty good amount. Of course it was limited in in the interaction part, but I feel the variety was good for the size of the map. And Red Dead 2 was very good in terms of the interaction, but of course the time period very much limited what could be there in terms of the amount and variety. But going into GTA 6, of course we have portions of the leak that allude to what you can do and how many and the different types of interiors that are going to be available. Plus there's that news article that floated around that I think said it was 67 or so percent of the interiors are going to be enterable. That seems honestly too good to be true, but if that is the case, I feel it'll be very good. I feel that it'll just add greatly to the gameplay loop, and not necessarily interiors that you must go to throughout your gameplay, to whether it's, you know, buying clothes or weapons or something that you would need for your gameplay, but things that are off the beaten path. For instance, there was a diner in the leaks that showed Lucia and Jason going in there to stick it up. It seems like it was more set dressing than anything. I'm sure you can probably buy food at that diner, but that isn't a place that you would have to go to throughout your playthrough. And I feel those types of interiors and being able to interact with those on your own leisure is very nice indeed, and would be very ideal to have in the game. The next thing that would be in my ideal GTA 6 is more RPG elements. Now, of course, everybody harks back to GTA San Andreas with the body modifications that were available in that game, whether it was overeating and getting fat, undereating and getting really skinny, and then going to the gym to lift weights and get super muscular. I hope all of that returns in almost the same exact fashion into GTA 6. Now, Red Dead did have a similar system as well, where you could be malnourished, and they also had a heat and cooling system to where if your clothes weren't suited for the environment you were in, then your character would experience harsher conditions. I think that is a great idea as well, and if they bring that over in some way, shape, or form, I think it's nothing but a positive to the game. RPG elements, in my opinion, a lot of people say to shy away from, especially in the game like this, as it's just too much to manage, but I think it just adds greatly not only to the gameplay itself, but it helps you connect deeper with the character, as not only are you playing through them, you're also taking care of them in a way, as well as bringing over the hair system from Red Dead 2. Of course, we saw in many screenshots that were released with the second trailer, Jason had plenty of different hairstyles and beard selections. Of course, those are already available in GTA 5, but it would be honestly a waste of technology for them not to bring over the hair growth system. I hope Lucia has it as well, as I think that'll be pretty cool. And overall, I think having all these RPG elements in the game does nothing but add to the experience, the longevity, and personalizes the experience for every single person, as they're all going to play and take care of their individual Jason and Lucia a little bit differently. Those RPG elements I mentioned sorta kinda and can in many ways play into my next one that I would like to see, which is deeper, more interactive housing garages and other properties. Of course, in GTA 5, especially online with all the updates that are released, there is a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch of properties to own, but they are, again, to me, just set dressing. Of course, the businesses and the passive incomes that you can get in the game are of course interactive. You interact with it outside and when you're actually in the building itself, but the houses themselves in the beginning of GTA were great, especially when they dropped the houses in the Hollywood Hills, but since there it's just been very stagnant. Me personally, I barely ever go to my apartments. I only use my garages, and when I'm using them, I'm only using the one in my office building because it, you know, has all the spaces and whatnot. For most people in the current day of GTA Online, their garage is nothing more than the mechanic list that they pull up on their phone whenever they call for a vehicle. I'm pretty sure the average player, outside of things like the auto shop and Benny's and the car show and the Vinewood Car Club, most people probably don't even enter their garages physically anymore and probably haven't done so in many years. Now, the next thing I would like to see is more in-depth weapon customization. Not in terms of the actual visuals of the gun, because GTA actually does a pretty good job of that, but of the actual effect it has on the weapon in terms of its recoil, bullet spread, and other factors that are, you know, bring it closer to what we see in Call of Duty and Battlefield as of recently. This one seems like a no-brainer to me. It goes back to the whole thing with the RPG elements, where each individual player will customize their guns differently. Their guns will feel different. Everyone's playthrough will be a little bit different in that regard. Adds nothing but flavor to the game. And then of course on the competitive side, especially when we get in the GTA 6 Online, the guns being more affected, being sort of worse in their stock configuration, and then having to be built up and be better. Hell, even if guns are like Warzone, where there's certain attachments or different builds and combinations that you can do to get an advantage in a particular situation, I think would be very beneficial to the game, and that's just personally something that I would very much like to see. Of course, coming from Red Dead 2, stepping back into the modern age, that will bring us to modern hunting. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2 had around 200 species of animals in the game. They spent a lot of time developing all the systems in terms of how they look and interact with the world, and it would be plainly stupid for them not to bring it over. You already know they're going to bring it over thanks to the trailers and multiple screenshots that we've already received, and I hope that hunting gets a full-fleshed overhaul and is included in the game fully, not just a side activity players can do, but honestly, I hope there's a big old Bass Pro Shop somewhere on the map. I hope there's still trappers and fences, and I hope there's still a want and reason to go out there and hunt rather than just it being a full open world activity that doesn't really have any tangibility to it. Hunting online especially is going to be super nice, going out there with friends, and especially if they add back in things like legendary animals or specific challenges for specific animals, I think would be very nice as well. And the idea that it can be more in-depth in terms of even things like role play, but owning a business for it and online, and being able to run your own trapper fence, or being able to make your own clothing and things like that, like how you could in Red Dead Redemption 2, would be very, very nice additions in my opinion. And the hunting overall could be an entire game in itself in a way, if they really flesh it out the way I hope they do. So the next thing is going to be strictly for GTA Online, and that is a more realistic economy and better inflation. Now, it is no surprise to anyone if you have played GTA Online recently, the prices for vehicles in that game, oh my god, it makes no sense at all. I hope when GTA 6 releases, and of course as they release updates down the line, prices for vehicles, houses, and other items in the game remain how they should be. Don't have to jack it up just because the players are earning more in that regard. I think they could have adjusted that system better with GTA 5, and I hope they learn from where they left off with GTA 5 and carry that into GTA 6 in a more respectful way. I mean, certain cars have no business costing as much as they do. It just literally makes zero sense. My last one is going to be a call to action for you guys watching the video. So leave a comment down below on what you would change or add on to my points, or what would just straight up be in your ideal GTA 6. I'm super interested to hear what everyone would like to see based off what information we have, or just what you would like to see in general. Game is going to mean a lot for a lot of people. It's going to change a lot. It's going to take up a lot of time for people, so it's fun to get invested and just go over what everyone's thinking. Again, really hope this game doesn't get delayed, as next year is going to be a real turning point for a lot of people. And as I mentioned, me getting started with this journey now, there is literally no better game to do it with. So I'll be out with more videos soon on the topic, and I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video. And if you did, please be sure to like and subscribe, as there's going to be much more coming from this channel in the future in regards to gaming, music, movies, and TV. So a like and subscription would be 100% greatly appreciated, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.